Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're tearing down the blueprint of what makes a project actually survive in the real world. Whether you're trying to get a bank loan to build a massive traditional factory, or you're launching a modern AI-assisted YouTube channel, the underlying heartbeat of your success is exactly the same. You need a Bankable Detailed Project Report, or DPR. I know it sounds like intense financial jargon, but I promise you it's simply the roadmap of your business survival. By the end of this explainer, you're going to see exactly how traditional project finance perfectly maps onto the modern digital creator economy.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the bankable DPR concept, CapEx versus ongoing OPEX, the P&L and core statements, making projects financially safe, AI videos on copyright, and finally, YouTube monetization rules. Let's get to it. Section 1, the bankable DPR concept. Does this actually make business sense?
So, whether you're building a massive hotel or launching a tiny software startup, your project feasibility report has to answer two giant questions before anyone hands over a single dime. First, does this make business sense? And second, will the math actually work out day to day? You can have the most brilliant vision ever, but if that daily math fails, the whole project goes down. I absolutely love this quote. It says, "A financial model is the story of a business told entirely in numbers and logic." It's not just a boring spreadsheet, right? Every hire, every software subscription, every raw material you buy, it's literally a plot point in your story. You're basically just storytelling through math.
And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute foundation of that story. On one side, you've got your means of finance. This just answers, where are we getting the money? Think equity from investors or debt from bank loans. Then, on the other side, there's the application of finance, which strictly demands to know, where is every single dollar going? The golden rule here? Balance. Your total means absolutely must equal your total application. You literally cannot have a single dollar unaccounted for.
Moving on to Section 2, CapEx versus ongoing OPEX, setting up the foundation.
Now that we know we're tracking every single dollar, let's talk about how we actually allocate that cash. We've got to separate the one-time hits from the daily grind. On the left, we have CapEx, or capital expenditure. These are your one-off setup costs. You buy a piece of land once, you construct a building once, you buy heavy machinery once. But on the right, that's OPEX, operational expenditure. This is the relentless, day-to-day reality of running your business. You might throw a huge party when you finally buy that piece of land, but listen, your OPEX never, ever stops. It's the heartbeat of your project, but man, it's also the thing most likely to give you a heart attack if you aren't paying attention.
I really want to slow down here for a second and put a massive spotlight on OPEX, because frankly, this is where businesses live or die. Operational expenditure covers the ongoing running costs that are absolutely crucial for your daily operations. We're talking about raw materials, staff salaries, your monthly rent, and that utility bill. Think about it. Your staff, they expect a paycheck every 2 weeks, whether you sold anything or not. The landlord wants rent on the first of the month, unconditionally. Raw materials constantly drain your bank account just to keep production moving. If your OPEX isn't managed perfectly, it acts exactly like a leak in a bucket, just draining your cash reserves way faster than you can fill them up.
All right, Section 3, P&L and core statements, tracking the financial health.
To track that financial health and monitor that constant cash drain we just talked about, we look right here at the most famous equation in business, the profit and loss statement, or P&L. Revenue minus expenses equals profit. Sounds super simple, right? But here's the absolutely critical connection. Your OPEX lives entirely right there in the expenses part of the formula. Your revenue is the money coming in, like from sales or video views, but your OPEX is this relentless daily subtraction from that number. If those day-to-day operational costs get too high compared to your revenue, your P&L is going to bleed red. You could literally be bringing in $1 million in revenue, but if your OPEX is $1.1 million, your business is failing on paper.
Section 4, making projects financially safe, risk and ratios.
So, basic question here. How do banks actually know your OPEX won't just eat all your cash? How do they know they'll get their loan payments back before your day-to-day operations consume every last dollar? Well, they look for this specific number, a debt service coverage ratio, or DSCR, greater than 1.35. This is a massive target for lenders. A DSCR of 1.0 means you're barely breaking even on your loan payments, literally zero room for error. By demanding a ratio greater than 1.35, lenders want to see a solid 35% cash buffer after your loan obligations are paid. And why? Because they know for a fact that OPEX can be totally unpredictable.
So the crucial point is that a truly bankable DPR doesn't just cross its fingers and hope everything goes perfectly. It requires validated market research to prove real demand. It demands risk mitigation strategies, and most importantly, it requires sensitivity analysis. This means stress testing your financial model against absolute worst-case scenarios. Like what happens if your raw material OPEX suddenly spikes by 15%? Does your DSCR drop below that 1.35 safety net? A bankable DPR proves that even if your daily OPEX goes crazy, the business is still going to survive.
Moving to Section 5, AI, Videos, and Copyright, the Digital Revenue Lens. Now, let's take these rock-solid financial principles and apply them to a modern digital project. What if your business model involves cranking out AI YouTube videos using tools like Google Notebook LM? It's a totally different kind of factory, but the exact same financial rules apply. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how legal risk instantly becomes financial risk. With Notebook LM, your copyright legality entirely depends on your inputs. Feed the AI your own original notes or public domain stuff, you're legally safe. But if you feed it paywalled books or third-party copyrighted materials, sharing that publicly triggers massive fair use issues. Now, if you just want to share unmonetized raw uploads with your team or get some organic views, that's totally fine. Keeping the default Google watermark even respects their branding rules. But the second money gets involved, the whole game changes. Which brings us to Section 6, YouTube Monetization Rules, protecting the P&L revenue.
And that brings us right back to our P&L statement. Remember revenue minus expenses? If you violate YouTube's AI monetization rules, your channel gets flagged, and boom, your revenue instantly drops to zero. But here is the truly terrifying part. Your digital OPEX, your software subscriptions, your internet bill, your editor's monthly salary, that OPEX just keeps on running. If platform violations wipe out your revenue, your ongoing operational expenses will literally eat you alive. Let's move to and see how this builds into a protective wall around your digital revenue. Step 1. Add human value. Don't just do raw one-click uploads, or YouTube's automated systems will slap you with a reused content flag. Add custom edits, slides, or your own commentary. Step 2. Transparency. Always check the altered or synthetic content box during upload. And Step 3. Before you even apply for the partner program, replace or unlist your purely raw AI uploads. Think of these rules as absolutely essential risk mitigation for your digital project's DPR.
Here is your ultimate digital takeaway. To guarantee monetization safety, transform the output by adding custom editing. That human touch is the literal asset that protects your revenue line on the P&L statement from being wiped out by an algorithm. Whether you're buying tons of raw steel for a massive factory or curating AI text for a video, you have to manage those operational expenses while fiercely protecting your revenue stream. So I'll leave you with this. As you build out your next big project, are you truly prepared to balance the relentless reality of your daily OPEX against the incredibly strict compliance rules of your revenue platform? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us on this explainer, and we'll see you next time.